The beads come from Africa.
No, the beads came from a mixture of California and New York, where I got my beads from. I shop around. The beads that I have on the very tips of my hair are some beads that I've had since I've been braiding for about 13 years. And the other beads, like the crystals and what have you, I go to back and forth to New York. And actually the beads
are they heavy?
No, they're not heavy at all. And actually these beads are jewelry beads. And when we go to New York to the bead district, a lot of people are, they're amazed at the fact that we're going to make these fine braids and put these small beads on our hair. But actually they're beads that are designed to create jewelry and earrings and necklaces and what have you.
With your hair, how do other hairstylists look upon braiding and the beads and all?
Well, a lot of people are wanting to get into it now. A lot of cosmetologists are really admiring it and seeking out our help. There's been some legislation passed now where braiding is going to be having, issued, we're going to be issued our own licensing. So a lot of
separate license?
Exactly, separate licenses. A lot of legislation has been going on for a few years now, so it's finally passed, and we're going to have our own license.
So before, you didn't, I'm sorry, go ahead. So before you didn't need licenses? You just did it? Well,
right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, it was just an art form that we practiced, in salons and what have you. But it's an art form. I mean, it's not a hairstyle or a hair design as far as I'm concerned. This is art, what I do.
It is.
So just to satisfy probably the hierarchies, they've created a licensing for it. But a lot of cosmetologists are wanting to do it now because, chemicals are, worn too long, they're, have great damage on your hair. Harmful. And, harmful to your hair and your scalp and what have you. So a lot of people are wanting to have knowledge about hair braiding now.
I remember some years ago when everybody was into the jerry curl and all that jerry curl juice swing and all down your clothes. I used I mean, truthfully, you could follow the drippings. You could, because it'd be so greasy. That stuff would be all on your clothes. I'm like, oh no, later for this. And then you put this stuff in your hair and it burned. And I still got a bald spot in the top of my head.
You had a curl?
Yeah, I had an S curl or something, And because that was a thing at the time. I had a little S curl about that long. But that stuff, I just didn't like all that grease. And you used to activate it and all that,
Well, I think they've created some drier things now to, the activators and stuff.
You have to go through all that.
Right, that don't make it look as greasy and so. Right. But it's damaging. I mean, over the long run, when you get 50 and 60 years old, after having put those chemicals in your hair over a period of time, you're going to lose, your hair is going to thin out quicker than someone who's never really practiced doing that over a period of time. So it is damaging in the long run.
But what you've done is a mixture here. With the braiding and the hair
and the barbering. Yeah, I have the fine braids on this side. These this particular technique are called Senegalese braids, and it's a technique where you see the natural bend and it stays like that the duration of the braid. And what it entails, it's not been curled or anything. It just entails braiding the braid a tighter stitch on the braid itself. And this side took about 12 hours. Wow. And here in the back, the beading that you saw that I had beaded, this particular style back here, these are just fine individuals that are very fine, and then you put the beads on. Yeah, you put the beads on afterwards. And this back here took maybe about 8 hours. And then I have the cut that takes maybe half an hour, and I have the line designs on that side too. And this here is called hair wrapping, and this took maybe about 30 minutes.
Is that done a lot, the wrapping?
Yeah, I do it quite often. I do it a lot when I do the hair cuts and what have you. And this, in the top here, I just returned from Senegal this week, and I had this done while I was there, and this took maybe a couple of hours. And this particular technique is called the rondelle. So I learned how to do that technique while I was there in Senegal. So I have a collaboration of about 6 different hairstyles on.
And when you travel abroad, you learn different styles?
Oh, yeah, that's why you go. Yeah, we go and we do a cultural exchange, and we teach them techniques that we do here, and they teach us techniques that they do in Senegal, because even though braiding was originated in Africa, years ago, there are a lot
centuries.
There are a lot of techniques that we've created here in the United States too that we can offer them. So we exchange and teach each other different techniques. It was like a couple of weeks of just workshops.
They're very open.
Sometimes they are. Now, me and my girlfriend noticed this time that the salons weren't as open to us as they had been in the past. What we had to do was go out into the villages and into the neighborhoods and seek out. Yeah, and I don't know what it was about, but the salon owners weren't as receptive to us this time. And what they're doing down in Senegal, particularly, is starting to want to wear a lot of chemicals and perms and that type of stuff. So my girlfriend is a cosmetologist, and she offered to teach them, to do those techniques correctly. And I'm a barber, so I offered that too. But they weren't as warm as they had been in the past, and I don't know why they feel competitive, because we're way away from them, and
no, we don't need that kind of spirit.
And exactly, and it was very it wasn't as warm as it had been in the past, because we travel there all the time. That we've been quite a few times, and they didn't receive us like they usually do.
We're going to take a break right here. We're going to be right back. This is Color Me Poetry. I'm Danny Queen.